It's Friday, September 19th, 2025. Good evening and welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. The Democrats are threatening to shut down the government unless the Republicans agree to free health care for illegal immigrants and spending increase of $1.5 trillion. The Jimmy Kimmel drama continues. To get his show back on the air, Jimmy offered Disney an opening statement where he clarifies that he didn't believe the Charlie Kirk shooter was MAGA, followed by a verbal attack against the right by accusing the right of mischaracterizing his comments in order to cause widespread outrage. Today, the House of Representatives voted on a resolution to honor the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Antifa expert Andy Ngo describes how the federal government can take down the organization, including the designation of some Antifa cells as international terrorists due to their direct connections with foreign Antifa networks. AOC had some deplorable things to say about Charlie Kirk on the House floor today, statements taken completely out of context, and we'll get into the details. Democrats have falsely claimed that RFK Jr. is banning the recommendation of vaccines to small children. And today, Chucky Schumer said, quote, "Our ultimate goal is a pathway to citizenship for all 11 million or however many there are," end quote, which is an admission that they have no idea how many illegals they allowed to flood the country. And there's lots more that happened today, so we're just going to dive right in. And if you enjoyed the video, please give the video a like if you have a second, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the daily updates. And I just might read your comment on the next episode if you decide to drop one. And by the way, everything I share in the video was posted no more than 24 hours ago, typically, although I will say there are just a couple, I think, that are over 24 hours old, but like 95% of everything I'm going to be showing is from today or at the very latest, late last night. So, all right, so we're going to start right here with Newsmax. Quote, "We're not going to pay for health care for illegal aliens. That's against the law. We're not doing that." Speaker Mike Johnson called out senior Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for opposing the short-term continuing resolution to fund the government and avoid a shutdown.
And I think everybody will recognize that. I'll just say this. The ball is in Chuck Schumer's court. I hope he does the right thing. I hope he does not choose to shut the government down and inflict pain unnecessarily on the American people. I hope that they will vote on this clean short-term CR so that we can continue the work to get our appropriations done. I'll take a couple questions. Yes, sir.
Will you consider meeting with Schumer and Jeffries before October 1st, the shutdown date? And why haven't you done so far?
I'm always open to meeting with anybody to get our work done here, but there wasn't really much to discuss with Chuck Schumer because he decided and announced a while back that he was not going to go along for a clean short-term CR. Now, remember, he's always voted on these in the past. He's never had a problem with it ever before. But now suddenly he does, and there's no rational reason for him to do so. So wasn't much for us to discuss. Now, I do talk with Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader here, routinely, regularly, and he and I have had a lot of discussions about this, and I encouraged him to tell his folks that they should do the right thing so that we can continue in a bipartisan fashion to get the government funded. And they've chosen a different route, and I hope in the Senate they make a better decision. Yes.
No, I believe that the Democrats are going to do anything and everything in their power to shut down the government and keep it shut down for as long as they can, because all they're going to simply do is gaslight everybody into believing that it's the Republicans. No, we didn't shut down the government. The Republicans did. We're not in control of what's going on here. We're not running the House. We're not running the Senate. We don't have a majority in anything. The Republicans have a majority in the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, the Oval Office. We're just a minority in everything. So what are they talking about? We're not shutting down anything. It's them who's shutting down the government.
In the event of a shutdown, are you open to negotiating with Schumer and Jeffries, or are you just going to wait out to see if they pass?
I mean, if Chuck Schumer's negotiation is that he wants to add $1.4 trillion in new spending, the answer is heck no. We're not doing
insane.
that. And we're not going to pay for health care for illegal aliens. That's against the law. We're not doing that. They're not being reasonable at all. A short-term CR is not a partisan exercise. We could have loaded this up with partisan
because they want to shut it down.
But we're not doing that because we're governing in a responsible manner. I hope Chuck Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate will do the same. So
because the Democrats, they're acting like they got nothing to lose. Because at this point, I think they really got nothing to lose.
Until after October 1st, the deadline. Do you plan to bring the House back next week later if the Senate doesn't pass this?
We haven't made final decisions on that. There's a lot of discussion about it. The members have a lot of work to do in the districts as well, and so we're always trying to balance those interests, work here and work in the district. We'll figure that out. But I'll just tell you, if Chuck Schumer intends to shut the government down, I don't see an easy route out of that, and there's going to be a lot of pain, and a lot of people will suffer from that unnecessarily. Think of it. We would not
that's
be
what they want, dude.
Our troops at a time.
I mean, we're talking about fucking Democrats
very
here.
serious conflict around the globe.
What are we doing here?
And we could go down the laundry list of things that would happen, and I hope they don't do that to the American people.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I could be mistaken, but wouldn't that apply to Social Security checks too? To be honest, I actually read that on a Democrat tweet, or post, or whatever you want to call it. So can't say for sure that that's actually the case. I have a feeling that's not true, but it is money coming from the federal government, so maybe. And the same with military. Don't they not get paid if the government shuts down? You know what? Let me just ask Grok real quick. They've got Grok 4 Fast beta. So it's supposed to be a little faster. Whoops. Hope that doesn't screw it up. Assessing the request. Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask for the short version. Will it let me edit? Oh, yeah, it will. Well, okay. Yeah, Social Security payments will continue to go out during the government shutdown. Okay, so the Democrats are fucking lying, as they usually do. All right, so... what about the military? I'm assuming the same thing. That checks are still going to go out. But maybe it's because they already have those payments allocated for the rest of the year. The whole fiscal year spending thing. Maybe that's what it applies to. Suppose I probably should have read more into that. Suppose I still can. They're funded through mandatory spending from the Social Security Trust Fund rather than discretionary appropriations that are typically affected by lapses in funding. This has been the case in all previous shutdowns, including those in 95, 96, and 2013. All right. So the payments are unaffected. Some SSA services may face delays or limitations, like benefit verifications, processing overpayments, new card issuance, or in-person assistance at field offices. Okay, so if you're trying to get on Social Security right now and they just approved you and you're just in that final approval process, that could cause some problems. The government shutdown, that is. It's possible starting on October 1st if Congress fails to pass funding legislation by September 30th. I'm definitely going to have my money on it shutting down. I think that's exactly what the Democrats want to do. As I already stated, they're going to blame the Republicans because they control everything right now, and it's just something just easy, convenient, mindless gaslighting that Democrat voters, constituents, they're just going to believe it. But anyway, so yeah, they will continue to report for, of course, and perform their essential duties. Let's see. As these are deemed accepted activities critical to national security. However, they will not receive pay until Congress passes and the president signs appropriations legislation, at which point compensation will be issued retroactively for the period of the lapse. Wow, man, I can't believe that's how they do that. That's absolutely wild. I figured that they would have had the military's paychecks all sorted out from the previous year, like the whole congressional budget. I know it's not exactly January 1st all the way through December 31st. I think it should be like that, but I don't know. I could understand why they don't want to have it that way, because that's during like the lame duck presidency period every 4 years, or not like the interim period. I don't know if I'm using the right term, lame duck. I don't know, but whatever. So that's it. We'll see where that goes, but I got my money on the shutdown. So from Eric Daugherty, breaking, it's just been exposed that Chuck Schumer and Democrats in Congress are demanding free health insurance for illegal aliens. $500 million for NPR. $500 million for NPR. That's so ridiculous. And a $1.5 trillion spending increase in exchange for averting a government shutdown. No way, stand strong. So this one's only a minute. Maybe he gives a little bit more information since he's being interviewed by Fox News. So we'll just take a look.
So we've been working really hard to get the House back to the regular appropriations regular order, and we've achieved that. In the House, in a bipartisan fashion, they passed all 12 appropriations bills through the committee, 3 of them off the floor. The Senate passed 3 bills. Remember the old videos on Saturday mornings about how a bill becomes a law? If the House and the Senate disagree on an appropriation spending bill, they go to a conference committee to work it out. We voted to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the process at which a bill is supposed to go through. the House, the Senate, passed by or signed by the president. However, they don't really do that so much anymore. They just jam everything into one single super bill and they just pass all of it. That way, all the trash that nobody would in their right minds ever vote for, it gets included because they say, well, if you want us to vote for this, you got to vote for that. And then they just combine like what? Probably not thousands, but hundreds of pieces of legislation. It's absolutely ridiculous. That should in no way be legal. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene has spoken on that in the past, talking about how every single solitary bill should individually be put through the House. And the pushback is, do you have any idea how long that would take? It would take forever to pass legislation. Well, that's good. That means only the most important pieces of legislation will get passed instead of a bunch of garbage that we don't need and probably only services, the higher ups, the elites, the big corporations, and everything else except for the American taxpayer.
All this is working well, but we're coming up on the end of the fiscal year, September 30th. So we need a few more weeks to finish this good work. So what we did in a responsible manner as Republicans in charge is we offered a totally clean short-term CR to get that job done. Chuck Schumer saw that. He returned a counteroffer that is filled with partisan wish lists and poison pills and demands. It includes, for example, Brett, what Chuck Schumer is arguing for. He wants to reinstate free health care for illegal aliens. He wants to add $500 million to prop up liberal media outlets. And he wants to add a massive $1.4 trillion spending hike to what should be a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure. We can't do that. We're not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's obvious. He's asking for things that he knows that nobody is going to go for. He's deliberately asking for insane shit. It's exactly what he's doing. Speaker Mike Johnson, House Democrats had the chance to do the right thing for the American people, but chose $1.4 trillion in partisan demands like free health care for illegal aliens, over keeping the government open for our own citizens. Now, if Senate Democrats block our clean short-term CR to keep the government open, they alone will own the consequences of a shutdown. The American people are watching. Yeah, they're watching, but they will own it. They technically will own it, but they're not going to say that they're going to own it. They're just going to blame it on Republicans by saying that they're in charge, not them, not the Democrats.
To try to make this a partisan exercise.
We probably just saw this.
And Hakeem Jeffries as well. And it's wrong to do that. And so if they choose to vote against this clean, completely nonpartisan CR, then they will be choosing to shut the government down, and they will owe the consequences of what happens following that. So I think it's a very shameful turn of events. I hope they do the right thing, and Schumer and the Democrats in the Senate have an opportunity to do that. Everybody in America can see what happens with it.
Yep. Schumer. Yeah. I still stand on what I said before. All right, from the GOP, quote, if the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer the most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos. Chuck Schumer. Oh, well, we just found out that he's completely full of shit. It was actually Chuck Schumer who said that. I thought I just read that in passing earlier today by just some random Democrat, and it turns out it's Chuck Schumer. And I'm surprised the GOP didn't clarify. Maybe they actually clarify in another post. I doubt it. No, Democrats are the agents of chaos. Yeah, that's true. All right, that's from yours truly. So, you know what? While I'm here, I'll just play it here.
If the government shuts down, it will be average Americans who suffer most. A government shutdown means seniors who rely on Social Security could be thrown into chaos, as the Social Security Administration limits certain services like benefit verifications. We're fixing...
Okay, all right, so he's not lying then.
...errors in payments. Our veterans could see regional VA offices shut down and support services put on hold. Some of our military service members could be forced to work without pay. Families who benefit from WIC and...
So basically what he's saying is that if you don't give illegal immigrants free health care that the American taxpayers have to pay for, then I am going to take away the paychecks of all the military servicemen and women. That's what he's saying. He's holding our military's paychecks hostage in order to get illegal immigrants to pay or to receive free healthcare, quote unquote free. Taxpayer-funded healthcare for illegals. Fucking insane, man.
Other nutrition programs could see benefits halted. If the
all right,
government
whatever, man. Fuck this asshole. All right, let's go back. Let's go to the next one. I think we're shifting gears here. All right, to discussing films. Now we're getting into the Jimmy Kimmel drama. And I've got a couple of goodies for this one. Disney and Jimmy Kimmel are disagreeing on how to bring back his show. Kimmel wants to do his monologue where he clarifies his comments and emphasizes that he never believed Charlie Kirk's killer was MAGA. He would have also fought back at Fox News, right-wing social media users, and others who he believes dishonestly mischaracterized his comments to fan the flames of outrage. Disney reportedly thought that went too far and didn't help the situation. So they've actually got a source, because I was going to say this is X after all, so you probably want to take it with a grain of salt, but they got 2.5 million followers, so clearly they say stuff that people obviously agree with, or they're accurate in some way, shape, or form to get that big of a following. So it's on puck.news, Kimmel, Iger, and the culture of capitulation, an informed dialogue on the fallout from Disney's Jimmy Kimmel suspension from the FCC's sustained attack on free speech to the network's mishandling of the moment, and what ABC's early capitulation will mean for Bob Iger's precious legacy and his potential successor. And it's fucking paywalled. Lovely. Yeah, I should have checked this earlier. I wouldn't even included that, or would have even clicked on it. I'll still leave it in the description. I would be pretty surprised if anybody listening to this has a subscription to this like really obscure website that I've never heard of. But it'll be down there. I always link everything that I show on screen, so it'll be there. But anyway, a couple images, Disney, whatnot. So speaking of which, I found this hilarious ass video. You're gonna love this. So from Lucas Sanders, wow, Dutch talk show host Lubach put together an absolutely savage takedown of Disney after they bowed down to the Trump administration to take Jimmy Kimmel off the air. So I use profanity when I'm talking. So, but still, full disclosure, there's going to be a little profanity in this. The P-U-S-S-S, yeah, that word's going to be mentioned a couple times. I think that's the only thing that's really said that might be shocking to some people who might be listening. But this is absolutely hilarious, man. So let's check this out.
We bring you a whole new Disney.
Trump Tower.
There are new stories to be told.
Oh, Belle, you're so hot. If you weren't my daughter, I'd probably be dating you.
I can show you the world.
New songs to be sung.
We don't talk about Jeffrey.
No, Jeffrey.
We don't talk about Jeffrey.
Oh, shit.
New sequels to timeless classics.
Lock her up! Okay, now I'm gonna grab you by the pussy. Where is your pussy?
Because not every voice needs to be heard.
Bambi, trans women are women.
Oh, my God. Holy shit.
Olaf, you are made out of snow, right?
Yes?
So that means climate change isn't real.
Damn right.
Making our company great again with brand new adventures.
I'm gonna go suck Donald Trump's dick.
New Disney. It's a small world after all.
Oh, man. What a fucking banger, man. That was fucking hilarious. All right. That was a good one. I had fun watching that earlier. That was cracking me up, so I had to share that. All right, anyway, moving on to Cernovich. The right was canceled on late night decades ago. All we had was social media, and the Biden regime personally had people banned and limited what we could say. Your faux sanctimonious scolding has no power here. And he's responding to Conan O'Brien, and he says this about Jimmy Kimmel. The suspension of Jimmy Kimmel and the promise to silence other late-night hosts for criticizing the administration should disturb everyone on the right, the left, and center. It's wrong, and anyone with a conscience knows it's wrong. And so, of course, he's pushing back. He's protecting his buddies. He's standing on the First Amendment and yada, yada. So I guess, like, just simply not realizing that Disney is a company. They're a private company, and they make the rules. They have a code of ethics. They've got, their mission statement that they're trying to stand behind, I guess. So, yeah, if they want to fire somebody, they can fire them. Anyway, so I guess I might just check through a couple of these real quick. So he didn't get fired for criticizing Donald Trump. Criticizing Trump is all he's done for many years. It's what you all do. He fucking lied about who murdered Charlie Kirk, you effing asshole. So, yeah, he did. Save us your pearl-clutching dribble. Jimmy Kimmel's suspension was an assault on free speech. And Roseanne, you mean like when you and your man-wife called Bob Iger at ABC to get me fired over a tweet? Yeah. Well, and also, like, they even attack their own, man. Remember when Kevin Hart, he was supposed to do the Oscars. I mentioned this just last night. Like sometime in like 2013, he made a gay joke in the form of a tweet, and somebody dug it up and complained about it, and they yanked his opportunity to host the Oscars. All right, yeah, this is another one. Like, he clearly does blackface, and he's like the only white dude in America, the only famous white dude who doesn't get tons of flack for it. Now, why is that? Well, your friend's a racist. That's how this works, isn't it? Uh-huh. I mean, I'll admit that was actually funny when it happened. I remember when that came out. I mean, I saw it probably years later, but anyway. So not even one tweet or post about a man who was murdered in front of thousands and seen by millions. A man who was openly and peaceful, debating, practicing free speech on college campuses. Maybe Charlie should have been a comedian instead, huh? No results from Conan O'Brien, Charlie Kirk. Very interesting. Not one single post, huh? All right, so anyway, I'll just get back to it. So yeah, there's probably some good stuff down there. But anyway, I'm kind of limited on my time. I don't want to go too long. So this is from Rapid Response 47. The president was right again. Kimmel was sidelined because his show sucked. And here's an image here going back to, let's see, the ratings track from 2010 to 2015. So what, 500,000 from back in 2012-13. Went back up 2013-14. Not sure what happened exactly, which would have caused that to happen. But I mean, it's not that substantial. It is a little bit, but then all of a sudden, down, down, down he goes. So yeah, man, like people just aren't watching this shit anymore, especially once it got political. That's really where it started, just to keep going. I mean, it already started by that point, but it just didn't stop. I mean, there's not really any comedy when you're trying to make fun of politics and you're on the left. It's just not funny. So anyway, yeah, and then people on the left are trying to say that, well, the best thing the right has is Greg Gutfeld, and he's not even funny. I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding? That's the funniest show on late night, and everybody freaking knows it. I know that's kind of a lame comeback from my part, but I'm just stating the facts. I mean, Greg Gutfeld, he's a funny guy. He's got funny co-hosts on there. All right, so this is Rapid Response 47. POTUS, Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person, and they should have fired him a long time ago. I'm sure he's going to say
Jimmy
exactly what I
Kimmel
just
was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he
it.
said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Ouch. Yep. I bet he was. Yeah, I try not to read those quotes. I try to just play it. Just got a little ahead of myself. All right. Moving on to Rep. Burgess Owens. Today we passed Speaker Johnson's resolution honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk, condemning his assassination and all political violence, and calling for the respectful debate Charlie championed. 58 Democrats voted no, 38 voted present, and 22 did not vote at all. Of course they didn't. And from Rep. Pat Fallon, less than half of House Democrats voted for a resolution honoring the life of Charlie Kirk, a sad state of affairs in the nation's capital. And another one, Rep. Claudia Tenney, 58 Democrats just voted no on condemning Charlie Kirk's assassination. Their silence spoke volumes. Americans won't forget. No, we're not going to forget. And Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, AOC is trashing Charlie Kirk right now on the House floor. She's lying about him and again repeating the same vile garbage at the same time, claiming to pray for his family and denouncing his assassination. There is no way forward with this, people. And this is from AOC herself. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was, a man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake, which is absolutely not true, but I'll get to that in a minute. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot out there, unquote, should bail out his assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, end quote. Yeah, okay. I mean, isn't he like extremely pro-Israel? Or he was. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from, quote, working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, as asserted by the majority in his resolution. We can condemn his horrific assassination and the scourge of political violence without uplifting these ideas. So it's 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, she already just summarized the gist of what this is. So I figured it's basically pointless just to play the whole clip. But if you want, I'll repost her post. And if you check the description in this video, I've got a direct link to my profile, or you could just go straight over to AOC's profile. So anyway, I believe the top comment, elaborates on this. So the Civil Rights Act should be one page. Don't discriminate based off the color of one's skin or race. That's what he said, he obviously being Charlie Kirk. You're too retarded to gaslight very well, and we know this because you parrot the same talking lines as everyone else. Also, men can't be women. Double jab. So this one from Boston Mom. Is this you? Sounds like Nazi behavior to me, from AOC. Congrats to President Joe Biden. Now let's begin the purge to round up all conservative traitors. Democrats, let's make Auschwitz look like a picnic. So I don't know if that's true. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm kind of leaning toward that not being true. I don't know if she's just trying to just flame tensions or not. If this is actually true, I guess just confirm it in the comments, and maybe I'll just take it for what it is. But yeah, like that's pretty over the top. But frankly, I would not be the least bit surprised if she actually did say that. I mean, the number of likes, that seems consistent. However, well, yeah, just, I don't know though, man. Look, it posted in 4 minutes. All right. I just noticed that. It was posted 4 minutes ago when the screenshot was taken at the time, with 49,000 likes in just 4 minutes. However, this could have been the night of the election, so it's not impossible to me. That just, it seems a bit heavy for just 4 minutes. But I'm not saying it's impossible. So anyway, shut your donkey face up, you ignorant biatch. My blood is boiling. Democrats are truly evil and deserve no compassion. And of course, there's going to be plenty of comments to this. Corny, she didn't say any of this when President Trump was silenced. She didn't say it when doctors were censored for warning black people about COVID in the NIH's F8A2 genetic targeting. She didn't say it when big tech crushed free speech for anyone who questioned the narrative. Spare us the selective outrage. You only care about speech when it serves your agenda. Yeah, it does. Hashtag learn to code. I guess you didn't listen to exactly what he said. Just the soundbite that suits your agenda. Resign, fraud. And of course it goes on. This one was hilarious. Ribbed condoms. They don't even taste like ribs. The bullshit. Okay, yeah. Might get a little bit too heavy for YouTube at this point. I need you to join me. Let's fight communism together. That's a good one to end on. Absolutely. She is a commie. They're a bunch of socialists. A bunch of communists. All right. So let's move on to Benny Johnson. Jasmine Crockett just tried to paint Charlie Kirk's assassin as MAGA, and Marjorie Taylor Greene shut her down immediately. This was posted yesterday, and then he delivers a quote here, a couple of quotes, and he tagged the video, so let's just play this.
I recognize Ms. Crockett for unanimous consent.
Yes, Mr. Chair, since I wasn't allowed equal time to debate, I have a UC. It is from, it looks like Yahoo News. It says, Charlie Kirk suspect's grandma says family is all MAGA.
Without objection, so ordered. Chair recognizes.
Like I've said before, just about every leftist out there has Republican family members. And I bet most Republican family members probably has at least one person who's either a Democrat or a progressive or even a far leftist. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is in our country.
Ms. Greene from Georgia.
And dude was radicalized. That's the evidence.
We'll recognize you next time. Chair, Ms. Greene, it's your 5 minutes.
Oh, let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can assure you that the man, the 22-year-old man, Tyler Robinson, that murdered Charlie Kirk is not MAGA. His family may be Republican, but all of the evidence that is being presented proves that he is a far leftist, very much integrated in online groups that are linked to Antifa. He was in a relationship with a biological male, so-called furry, whatever that is transitioning to be a fake woman. That is, he was not MAGA, not one bit. That is a complete lie.
Not me.
And it's an insult to every single Republican and person that identifies with those type of politics. We will not tolerate it. And that is the exact type of language that is getting many of us death threats day after day, and led to shootings on the baseball field where Steve Scalise was shot. This is what led to President Trump nearly being assassinated this past summer. This is what has led to Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And so I just want to give a warning there. We're not going to tolerate that anymore. You know, something else we're not going to tolerate is crime. On August 11th.
All right. So yeah, she goes on from there, but yeah, that was a good opener. All right. Caroline Levitt, Donald J. Trump, I just completed a very productive call with President Xi of China. We made progress on many very important issues, including trade, fentanyl, and the need to bring the war between Russia and Ukraine to an end, and the approval of the TikTok deal. I also agreed with President Xi that we would meet at the APEC summit in South Korea, and that I would go to China in the early part of next year, and that President Xi should likewise come to the United States at an appropriate time. The call was a very good one. We will be speaking again by phone. Appreciate the TikTok approval, and both look forward to meeting at APEC. So it looks like the TikTok thing is going to happen. As I've said before, ByteDance, they're working on like a TikTok 2.0 platform. Not sure exactly what that means, but it sounds like they're gearing up to drop another app onto the American public. They're probably going to advertise the hell out of it because I'm sure they made a shitload of money off TikTok. Not to mention they're going to sell it for God knows how many billions of dollars. So I don't know, man. We'll see where that goes. All right, from the White House, President Trump signs an executive order to open new pathways for extraordinary people who are committed to supporting the United States to come and contribute to America through expedited immigration, the Trump Gold Card.
We have two items for your attention today, sir. A major focus of your administration has been shifting the conversation and shifting the policy dynamics around the issue of immigration, closing the border, preventing illegal immigration, but also, as is the case with the executive order in front of you, opening new pathways for truly extraordinary people to come contribute to America instead of taking away from it. So this executive order is entitled the Gold Card. It will set up a new pathway, a new visa pathway for foreigners of extraordinary ability who are committed to supporting the United States for a payment of $1 million to the U.S. Treasury, or if a corporation is sponsoring them, $2 million by that corporation, and that will give them access to expedited visa treatment as part of this new Gold Card program.
Well, one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks, and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way, a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country, and I think it's going to be tremendously successful.
All right. Yeah, it very well could be. That way they don't get, the best talent that is worth $1 million to $2 million doesn't just get lost in the shuffle. That is crazy. So the Gold Card is here. And this was also posted from the White House. So just an image. Not sure if they actually tagged any articles or anything. I don't think they did. Nah. Wait a minute. The best eclipse ever. All right. Enough fun. Let's see. All right. So also from the White House, from Bloomberg, Trump to add new $100,000 fee for H-1B visas in the latest crackdown. Whoa. All right. Let me see. They should have an article down here, right? No, they don't. All right. Well, Bloomberg, Trump to add new $100,000 fee for H-1B visas in latest crackdown by Josh Wingrove and Hadriana Lohengrin from today, 1:58 p.m. I mean, they tagged Bloomberg, but I'm assuming they, well, no. See, the latest thing they have is from September 17th. Wait, what? August 27th? Are they not posted on here daily anymore? All right. I guess not. Okay. So I think I might have something else on this. Yeah, I do. From the U.S. Department of Labor, the days of employers abusing H-1B visas are over. Introducing Project Firewall, our plan to ensure high-skilled jobs go to Americans first.
For too long, Washington politicians have stayed silent as employers abused H-1B visas under President Trump. This is coming to an end. Today, the Department of Labor is proud to launch Project Firewall. This H-1B enforcement initiative will ensure employers are prioritizing qualified Americans over foreign workers. It's all part of our commitment to end decades of America Last policies.
Oh, sorry about that.
Worker first.
Holy moly, man, that sound jacked up. That was my fault. That wasn't the video's fault. All right. We're good. Let me see if I bring that back on. Okay. All right. Just checking something behind the scenes. I didn't actually intend for that to happen. All right. Defiant L's. Chuck Schumer. Our ultimate goal is a path to citizenship to all 11 million or however many there are here. And here we go with this one.
Now more than ever,
it's gonna be bad quality.
Workers, we have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
All right.
Now more than
Whatever.
ever.
Yeah. Whatever. All right, HHS.gov, a 1997 FDA rule allowed drug makers to advertise directly to consumers without fully disclosing side effects. Not anymore. POTUS and Secretary Kennedy are taking action to bring radical transparency back to drug advertising. Ending big pharma deception. You deserve to know what's in your drugs. Thank you, President Trump and Secretary Kennedy, for ending deceptive drug ads. That is awesome. I mean, not that a ton of us really watch cable TV anymore. I think that's where the vast majority of those commercials are on. But that's all right. Still, a lot of people do watch it, though. And from Senate Democrats, Republicans just voted to let healthcare premiums skyrocket. Millions will lose coverage if Congress does not act. This crisis is preventable. Republicans must come to the table and negotiate. All right, let's hear what they have to say.
Just now, Republicans voted to jack up healthcare premiums for millions of Americans. And the choice was very simple. We either work together to extend these tax credits and save...
Wait, hold on. Like, what do they do? What do they do to jack it up? Like, Bill HR what? Like, can you give us any words, any kind of context whatsoever? Anything? No?
Millions of Americans from losing their health care, or Republicans can go it alone, and people are going to get these letters in a matter of weeks saying, your subsidies are gone, and you're going to pay $200, $300, $400, $500 more per person per month. This is not an abstraction. This is not an allegation. This is not a political talking point. This is what is going to happen to millions of Americans in blue and red and purple places all across the country. And what we're saying is that this is avoidable. What we're saying is that people are about to experience an intense amount of financial pain and probably lose their health care.
Okay.
And we just want to fix this. So Republicans need to come to the table and negotiate with us. That's the way to pass it.
Yeah, okay. Well, of course, being vague, as Democrats are, extremely vague. You don't really give us any details as to exactly what are the Republicans doing. That's going to happen in about 3 weeks' time, 4 weeks' time. The government shutdown's going to happen in less than 2 weeks. So it apparently isn't that. So what exactly is coming up? I mean, I know that I believe it's open enrollment for Obamacare comes up in a few weeks. Maybe that might be what they're talking about. I don't know. So no citations, no direct quotes from legislation, as usual. Got to assume that the Democrats creating yet another mess and blaming it on the Republicans, as usual. So just make Obamacare marketplace policies from healthcare.gov apply to change or remove a policy. Once Blue Cross lists a policy, it's there until they get permission to change or remove it. The tax credit that pays the marketplace is based on the price set by the companies. All right. If every second lowest cost silver tier plan in your zip code goes up $10 next year, the tax credit pays almost $8 of that, while you see a $2 increase. Before, the marketplace and insurance company was lucky to sell you a family policy for $500 a month. Now it's $600 and $700 a person. Beautiful. That tax credit went up every year. Insurance is the only thing keeping up with inflation. All right. Okay. I don't know. Laura Sue, shut the government down. It's all on the Democrats. This will give Trump more power. You guys want too much. You're mean and evil people. This coming from a racist, Nazi, fascist, garbage Trump supporter. Thanks for the target. All right. Yeah, obviously not too happy. Democratic Party, yeah, that's fairly accurate. Extremely. Republicans just stopped 19 million illegals from getting taxpayer-paid free healthcare. Right. Doge AI, the real crisis, a bloated ACA framework that prioritizes insurer profits over patients. Premiums are soaring because the system is rigged. Pharma monopolies, hospital price gouging, and Medicaid fraud drain billions while bureaucrats rubber stamp rate hikes. The big, beautiful bill cuts through this corruption by redirecting funds to patient-first reforms, breaking big pharma's grip on pricing, and slashing bureaucratic bloat. Democrats have 15 years to fix Obamacare structural failures, but chose corporate donors over affordability. I mean, yeah, like Biden, he was in there for 4 years. Why didn't they touch anything with regard to Obamacare? Real solutions require market transparency, not more taxpayer-funded subsidies that mask the rot. I mean, I definitely agree with the price gouging. Healthcare costs, healthcare goods and services are absolutely ridiculous. Why it costs like what, $700 or $800 just to have an IV administered to you when you're in the hospital, for them to charge you, and I'm sure it's a lot more now. It's been years since I've been to the ER, but the ER, they were charging $1,000 just to use a room in the ER. That's how much they were billing. You get a CT scan, they charge $8,000 for a CT scan, even though it costs the hospital just a couple $100. That's how much it actually costs them out of pocket, because they use the same machine for like 10, 20 years, something like that. It's like a $2 million machine if you break it down to where it's used for, let's say, 20 patients a day, 20 scans a day in the hospital setting. I think that's a fairly reasonable number. And the cost for the doctor to transcribe what they see, and the nurse to set up whatever, and also the radiology technologist or whatever. Anyway, all that said and done, it can't cost more than like $200 to administer a CT scan, but yet they charge like damn near $10,000 to do so. It's fucking ridiculous. All right, so I think I have the opposite from the Senate Republicans, maybe. So Senator Warren just voted to cut $50 billion from rural hospitals in America and send your tax money overseas to fight climate change. So not exactly the opposite argument. I meant to say, like, so we've got the Senate Democrats, we got the Senate Republicans. So they're talking about Elizabeth Warren, and they obviously are responding to her post. So she is at I've noticed a couple of her videos recently. Her camera's really shaky. She looks like she's always in a massive hurry for some reason. I don't really understand why.
So I'm just coming back from the United States Senate, where we just had a vote on keeping the government open. And the Democrats said, yeah, let's keep the government open for another 30 days while we negotiate. But here's what we're asking.
Oh, bullshit.
From the Republicans, roll back the health care cuts that you've put in place. Don't take away health care coverage from 15 million Americans, and don't...
Dude, they're taking away money from illegal immigrants, and they're also rolling back money from fraudulent use, from fraud, waste, and abuse. They found billions of dollars worth of health insurance that was being directed to people who are not entitled to it, whether they fraudulently filled out Medicare or Medicaid. They're clawing that money back. And if I'm not, I don't know, if I'm mistaken, let me know in the comments. But as far as I understand, that's what the Republicans are doing with regard to this healthcare funds, and Democrats are spinning it to make it sound like that innocent Americans are just going to be instantly dropped from their health insurance completely. There will be some people who lose their insurance because they're fraudulently receiving it in the first place, and they're not entitled to receive it. The same with virtually all the illegal immigrants. I think that's where the bulk of it's going to be coming from. Illegal immigrants.
The cost of health insurance.
Which is probably why that Chuck Schumer was demanding that illegal immigrants continue receiving health care. That was part of their deal, or else we're going to shut down the government. It's because we're clawing back that money from illegal immigrants. They're not entitled to get health care, free health care. I mean, there's a bunch of Americans like I could benefit from that. I mean, I herniated my fourth lumbar way back in like 2015. Still haven't been able to get a surgery. It bothers me every single day. And sure be nice if I could have options to get it fixed, but I don't, because I don't have thousands of dollars worth of deductibles that I could just pay for to get this taken care of. I can't afford it. But yet illegal immigrants can just come right in and get basically whatever the hell they want. It's bullshit.
Those premiums for pretty much everybody else in the country. That's all we ask for. We're not asking for you to spend more money. We're not asking for big changes in the healthcare system. Not right now. Just don't take away healthcare from the American people. Every single Republican voted no.
They're not Americans.
Every single Democrat voted yes, trying to preserve access to healthcare and keep it affordable for Americans. I think the fight is on.
Sorry, I don't think that people who fraudulently filled out paperwork to receive government insurance should be getting government insurance. Just saying is all. All right. Anyway, so am I on the right page? Yeah. All right, we're good. From hhs.gov, this is a lie meant to send Americans into a panic. So that's in reference to Rosa De Lauro. Children will die because of this decision. These diseases have been nearly eradicated thanks to vaccines. RFK Jr. is a threat to American health and must be fired. I'm telling you, man, Big Pharma. Big Pharma is coming after him, and they're using the Democrats as their megaphone. So she replied to, or reposted, the Wall Street Journal. Breaking, RFK Jr.'s vaccine panel voted to no longer recommend a combined shot for measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella for children under the age of 4. So there's that. And anyway, HHS.gov says, fact, ACIP recommended that the varicella, which is chickenpox vaccine, be given as a standalone immunization rather than through the combination of measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella vaccine. CDC Gov's Immunization Safety Office showed that healthy toddlers 12 to 23 months have increased risk of febrile seizure 7 to 10 days after MMRV vaccination compared to those given separate immunization for varicella. So all they're saying is that we don't want you to give all of them the whole cocktail all at once. Instead, you can get those other vaccines, I'm assuming at the same time, and then get the last one at a separate time. That way, their risk of these seizures don't go up. It seems common sense to me. So I don't know why they'd have a big problem with that, but they just want something to complain about, I guess. And from Inevitable West, so we're moving on to the Antifa situation. Breaking, Viktor Orban announces Hungary will now also designate Antifa a terror organization. The West has had enough. Dude, the whole world listens to everything Trump says. Trump says that he's planning on designating Antifa as a terrorist organization, and Hungary and the Netherlands immediately came out within hours after and said, yep, they're a terror organization over here. We're setting the precedent. They're officially a terrorist organization. I mean, that's how disliked this organization is. That's how hated they are. That Trump whispers about how he didn't say that he signed anything doing it. He just said that he's planning on doing so, making them a terrorist organization. And there's other countries that are just jumping at the chance. They're getting ahead of Trump and banning Antifa, declaring them a terrorist organization. So from Peter, Sweden, it's happening. The USA has declared Antifa to be a major terror group. Not sure if that's 100% official yet. I didn't see anything with regard to anything being actually written into the law with regard to making them one. So I don't know if he's jumping the gun or if I'm missing something. But also the Dutch parliament voted to designate Antifa a terror group, and Hungary announced they will declare Antifa a terror group too. This is excellent news for freedom. So Andy Ngo, he is the expert when it comes to Antifa. He's a journalist. He's written books about him. He's writing updates all the time with regard to Antifa. That's all I see him talking about. I'm not saying that's literally all he talks about. I'm sure he's got other things that he looks into. But anyway, I got a few posts from him with regard to Antifa. At the end of the day, any executive declaration labeling Antifa a terrorist organization is symbolic. Trump already did it in 2020 when the riots erupted. It's not all bad news, though. Continue reading. The courts have interpreted the First Amendment to bar, here, let me open this up, to bar and local governments from banning domestic groups based on ideology. Federal terrorism laws banning membership or material support only apply to foreign terror organizations. However, what matters more is the president signaling the potential use for RICO, conspiracy charges against the far-left militants engaged in criminal conspiracies. There are also other current criminal legislation that can be used, and some Antifa groups like Rose City Antifa have international links, opening themselves to terrorism charges. It will take a lot of resolve, creativity, and determination for the DOJ to break up Antifa's violent extremist networks, but it can be done. We've already seen it work. In San Diego last year, local prosecutors broke up SoCal Antifa with felony conspiracy convictions. Every identified member of the cell was convicted. Antifa threatened the judge and prosecutors, but they pressed through. Leftist media smeared the DA. At trial, all the evidence showing how organized SoCal Antifa was revealed. Each person was unmasked, Their weapons and tactics exposed. And you can read that here. I will link that in the description if you want to check that out. Expect a lot of media lies about Antifa in the coming days. I would not be surprised if some American Antifa groups begin changing their names and taking down their logos. I go in depth about the Trump announcement and what it means here. Please watch ngocomment.com/p/reacting. So where does this lead? Okay. Oh, man, it's a half-an-hour video. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. It's on ngocomment.com, as in Andy Ngo. So that'll be down there in the description if you want to check that out. So I got another one from him. Here we go. Andy Ngo, did you know that many liberal states give taxpayer-funded grants to Antifa groups that register as nonprofits? In Oregon, taxpayers fund Antifa legal groups that provide free legal aid to violent Antifa members who are charged with felonies. Man, you can't make this shit up.
Who funds Antifa?
Great question. So
there's Andy
the way
Ngo.
they organize is they're so decentralized and diffused that there's not one person at the top who's funding. Again, I go back to the radical Islam and jihadist model. There's no single person who's funding jihadism around the world. You have many, many funders. I'll just speak to the strongest evidence I've seen from the 2020 riots. You know, millions of dollars were raised for these bail funds and legal aid, and that all came through campaigns that were put online. And then people donated anonymously.
Like GoFundMe.
And these were shared, the links were shared on
I don't
Twitter
know that for sure.
And across Reddit, social media, and it was a lot of people contributed money. So that's on one level you can look at. Another thing is that there are various registered actual nonprofits that work in the Antifa apparatus. And some of these nonprofits get grant money from the state. It happens in the state of Oregon. There are Antifa legal groups that explicitly exist to provide free legal aid to violent felony suspects accused of Antifa crimes. They have received state funding from taxpayers. So a lot of the funding actually comes from people who pays taxes, from people like you and I. So yeah, you have to tackle that. And the funding happens like on PayPal, GoFundMe, Cash App, Venmo. So there's not,
there you go.
As far as the evidence that I've seen, there's not a lot of like dark web, crypto, that type of funding. They're so emboldened by their organizing because they've been able to do it in the open for so long that they just use these apps to get money and to raise money.
Wow. Unfucking believable, man. The state of Oregon giving them taxpayer money to fund their legal battles. Insane. You can't make this shit up. American Antifa are almost an entirely domestic network, but they do maintain links with Antifa in Canada and Europe. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, should consider declaring the international manifestations of Antifa as foreign terrorist entities to the U.S. government. I said that yesterday. In 2021, German Antifa took over Leipzig's city center and then carried out mass attacks on the public to try and intimidate judges and prosecutors handling a criminal case involving their violent members. They do the same in France and in other countries. It's just a real quick one. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so I don't get too crazy with the noise. It looks loud. Just like in America, they got all their umbrellas out. They're all wearing the same color. Covering up their faces so they can't be identified on cameras. You know, that whole thing. Always shoving umbrellas in people's faces, especially those who are trying to film them. So anyway, yeah, but I mean, like, what good are they trying to do? Like, what is one thing that Antifa is doing that would make the country better in any way, shape, or form? I would challenge anybody to give me at least one. All right, and then another one. This one, yeah, this looks like the last one from Andy Ngo. In a rare after-action report, an Oregon Antifa group fears that Charlie's assassination may have backfired on them. They're also concerned over previously inactive conservatives now becoming activated. They devise ways to sabotage the right. Read. And this is from his website, NGO Comment. and it is a video, 6 minutes. It's a bit long. I'll just leave it in the description, but here, I'll at least read this first part here. So he says, on September 17th, I joined Newsmax to discuss how Antifa are stunned by the unity of outrage on the right after the assassination of Charlie Kirk last week. A Corvallis, Oregon, or Corvallis, I don't know, I'm not from Oregon. Antifa cell based in the same city as Oregon State University has now published an after-action report detailing their concerns about the fallout after the murder. In their own words, they admit fearing the loss of their long-standing ability to mark conservatives for death without much resistance. They point out that for the first time, even apolitical groups, institutions, and businesses feel safe expressing sympathy to Kirk's family and supporters. Compounding their panic, numerous people have already been fired after celebrating the assassination online. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel's late night show has been pulled off the air by Nexstar after he attempted to mislead the public by falsely suggesting the assassin was MAGA. And the report, hold on, so what is this exactly? Addressing mobilizations, anti-fascists have attempted to counter several of these rallies in Portland and Seattle, but these counters have been unequivocal, optical, and tactical failures. This is particularly relevant as many apolitical businesses and institutions have expressed public sympathy to Kirk and his cause. So the report also acknowledges that Antifa's recent attacks on Sean Fuchs Christian workshop events have backfired badly. Cameras captured masked militants assaulting families and children, images that damaged Antifa's carefully crafted narrative. The group admits these events combined with the Kirk assassination risk galvanizing otherwise politically inactive conservatives. They're desperate to prevent that. Yeah, because they don't want the Proud Boys to show up and start whooping their fucking asses like they used to. They used to just show up and just dwarf toss these fucking dudes dressed all up in black and shit. Anyway, to counter a cultural shift away from their dehumanization tactics, now deeply mainstreamed on the left, Antifa recommended dividing the right against itself. Specifically, they point to Israel as the wedge issue, noting waning support for the war and growing criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu among prominent conservative figures and popular conspiracy theorists. All right, and it goes, oh no, it actually doesn't go on from there, and that's it. So as such, anti-fascists must work to find more creative ways to counter this political moment. One possible or possibly useful wedge issue in this context is Israel. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, dude. I don't think that's going to happen. The evidence is pretty crystal clear. Israel had nothing to do with it. We've got the guy in custody. It's a done deal. The right is very unified on that. So, yeah, good luck with that. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next big topic. So I've been so entrenched in the federal government news, just following all these lists and everything, and I didn't even see this come out. I just saw this morning, and of all websites, it was the Tallahassee Democrat that showed this on I use Chrome on my phone, so you know, like if you don't get on Chrome for a while, if you have it set up that way, it'll automatically pop up a new tab and it'll show you some news articles at the bottom. Well, that was the case when I woke up this morning and just went to Google Chrome to check out something else. I noticed this article, and the state of Florida has officially an open carry state. We are official. All trial courts are immediately prohibited from enforcing the unconstitutional state ban on open carry. The Second Amendment has won in the red state of Florida officially. This is huge. This is amazing. So Florida not even technically, it is a full-on constitutional carry state. I'd say that it's like 95% of the way there. The only reason why I don't give it 100% constitutional carry is because felons still can't carry, dishonorable discharge, mental illness, domestic violence, drug addiction. So, I mean, the Second Amendment doesn't say anything about mental illness and all those other things. So, I mean, you can't quite give it 100%. However, this is as close to constitutional carry as you can possibly get, and I am absolutely over the moon for this. It's amazing. I mean, I've been advocating for this forever, and I mean, it's been 40 years since the open carry law went into effect, which, of course, banned the ability to open carry in the state of Florida unless you're going hunting, camping, or fishing, going directly to or returning from, with no stops anywhere else. You have to go directly there or back if you're open carrying, but now that's not the case. If you want to openly display your firearms in your car, I believe that's already been the law for a little while now. But you can open carry anywhere you damn well please. And if you, from what I read, I'm not a legal scholar, so if you happen to live here in Florida, don't take what I say like absolute directly gospel truth or anything, but so I've read, like, if there's a store that doesn't want firearms in their store, the worst thing that they can do is just trespass you. So if you walked into, I'm not even going to name a store, if you walk into some public store or whatever, and they've got some like firearms policy or whatever, because stores technically can, because, private businesses at the end of the day, the worst that can happen to you is you just get trespassed, like if you want to, raise a big deal about it or whatever. So, I mean, this is absolutely amazing news. It's so freaking cool. And I don't know how this is going to affect the progressives, the liberals. There's a lot of leftists and liberals, progressives that live here in St. Pete, especially downtown, like in that area. So not sure how they're taking the news right now. This actually broke, 4 days ago. So not sure if that's going to scare them enough to where they want to leave the state because they're just deathly afraid of guns. I know they were freaking out over the permitless carry of concealed weapons that came out on July 1st of last year, I think it was. So, not sure. But I have a feeling if they start seeing people proudly, openly carrying their firearms out in public, I have a feeling they're going to feel a certain way about that. So maybe that might drive the cost of housing down in Florida a little bit more. So, yeah, that will be interesting. I know the sheriff's departments, they're all getting ready for it. It officially goes into effect on the 25th. So here's the guidance memorandum, Office of the Attorney General. I know the text is small. But anyway, so it's to Florida's law enforcement agencies and prosecuting authorities. We write to provide guidance on an important development last week in Florida's appellate courts affecting the right to bear arms. In McDaniels versus State, the First District Court of Appeal struck down Florida's ban on open carry, Section 790.053 Florida statutes, finding that law-abiding adult citizens have a right to carry firearms openly in public under the Second Amendment. The court's decision is attached. So they attached the court's decision. I believe that's on the next page. The defendant in McDaniels carried a sidearm in a holster tucked in his pants, but the gun was uncovered and visible. Importantly, he was a law-abiding citizen and did not threaten or otherwise menace anyone with the gun. His actions were peaceful and orderly. When authorities charged him with violating Section 790.053, he moved to dismiss, asserting that the law is incompatible with the Second Amendment, which it is. The trial court rejected that argument, but the First District reversed. It held that Section 790.053 violates the Second Amendment under NYSRPA versus Bruin, 590 U.S. 1, 2022, and United States versus Rahimi, 602 U.S. 681, 2024, because it is inconsistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. And OP 11 to 12, the court concluded that open carry was the default mode of bearing arms, which it is, during the relevant founding period. OP 16, we believe the McDaniels decision correctly applied Second Amendment law as enunciated in Bruin. Let's see, because no other appellate court has considered the constitutionality of Section 790.053 under Bruin versus Rahimi, the First District's decision is binding on all Florida trial courts. See Pardo v. State 596. Anyway, just, legal jargon. Effectively, the McDaniels decision is now the law of the state because no Florida court will any longer be empowered to convict a defendant for violating Section 790.053. Prudence counsels that prosecutors and law enforcement personnel should likewise refrain from arresting or prosecuting law-abiding citizens carrying a firearm in a manner that is visible to others. Similarly, consistent with this decision, my office moving forward will no longer defend convictions and prosecutions under Section 790.053 in cases like Mr. McDaniels. The McDaniels decision does not, however, prevent law enforcement from continuing to police those who exhibit in a rude, careless, angry, or threatening manner in public. So don't point your guns at people. Don't wave your gun around, and don't get all freaking crazy with your fucking firearms. Just keep it pointed down. Honestly, like most appropriately, you should just, always have it always pointing down, but holstered or even concealed. I think carrying concealed is always the smarter choice anyway, because you're not going to have some lunatic sneak up behind you and just snatch your gun out of your holster, which it is possible. I mean, I know people like they've got locking mechanisms and stuff like that. I get it. However, I think you're just better off just showing to the public that you appear to not be armed when you in fact are armed. It's just my own personal opinion. I have nothing at all against open carry. I hope that people just start wearing their guns loud and proud. And I mean, dude, that would just make my ear. All right. And nothing in the decision permits individuals to menace others with firearms in public, nor does it undermine the state's authority to prohibit felons from possessing firearms. Additionally, the court's decision neither considered nor implicated Florida's law listing certain locations where the carrying of a firearm, open or concealed, may be unauthorized. See Section 790.06. The same holds true for private property owners who maintain the longstanding legal prerogative to compel individuals carrying firearms to leave their premises. Any person carrying a firearm who violates the private property owner's warning to depart will be committing armed trespass, which is a third-degree felony. What? All right, so you heard it right here. So, yeah, if you go somewhere, private property, and let's see, and they violate their warning to depart. So, yeah, so if you can't carry a firearm into a private location, and I guess if you've been warned, it doesn't sound like that they technically even have to warn you. They probably just have to display the warning somewhere that's in plain view. Yeah, you could be charged with a felony, so you probably should be careful where you carry your firearms. But yeah, anyway, so I'm sure that 911 calls are going to go up like crazy, probably for the first few weeks, especially with tourists coming down. I know that's going to be an ongoing problem. There's a guy I follow on YouTube. His YouTube channel is The Armed Fisherman. He goes all over the state fishing because in Florida, you're allowed to open carry when you go fishing. Not sure what he's going to do with his channel now. He'll probably just keep doing what he's doing. But people call the police on him all the time. That's what brings so much drama to his YouTube channel, because a lot of people are here visiting from out of state because, I mean, it is Florida, for crying out loud. So a lot of people freak out when they see some dude carrying an AR-15 and a fishing rod, and they call the police, and they always show up, and they have to inform the people who call the police, like, it's perfectly legal here. He's fishing. You're allowed to carry while you're fishing. Then, of course, they always get into an argument with the cops, like, well, that's bullshit. That's the stupidest thing. What, are you going to shoot the fish or something? And sometimes the armed fisherman, sometimes he will educate them a little bit as to why it is a wise idea to especially saltwater fish while you're armed. And anyway, so I've got another one right here. Important message from Sheriff Wayne Ivey about Florida's open carry laws. So it's a little bit long, but
hello, everyone. I'm Sheriff Wayne Ivey of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office.
You can skip.
And this evening, I want to share with everyone some exciting news and also guidance regarding a recent appellate court
ruling. Even the sheriffs are
that
excited.
most of you have probably seen
you think
by
they'd be
now,
all irritated, stressed out.
That prohibits the open carry of a firearm. As most are probably aware, Florida State Statute 790.053 prohibits the open carry of a firearm unless the person carrying the firearm is in the process of going hunting or fishing. While that statute has been...
Oh, yeah, by the way, I was going to mention, I don't know if he actually goes into it, but it's any establishment that primarily serves alcohol, bars. You can't have any firearms in bars. That's still going to stand. That's still going to be considered the state law, even if, like, the bar owner would prefer, like, it be okay if somebody wants to have a firearm in a bar, which and that's the most common sense thing ever. You don't want a bunch of, like, pissed off drunk dudes with guns. I mean, I get it. So just don't drink. I don't know. Anyway, I get it. That's not like Second Amendment absolute, but, you know,
place for quite some time. Today's ruling from Florida's First District Court of Appeals held that Florida's open carry ban was unconstitutional. In furtherance, the court found that prohibiting the open carry of firearms was incompatible with the Second Amendment's guarantee of the right to bear arms and with our nation's historical traditions.
You know, as the Democrats, they believe they're clinching more power along the way over the last 10 years. But they're just losing ground and losing more, especially on the state level, man. Over the last, 12, 13 years, we went from one constitutional carry state in the entire country to 26, which is crazy, man. Like, the U.S., little by little, is just getting redder and redder and redder, and it's just so beautiful to see.
While the opinion at this point is not yet final, as the court allows time for filing of a motion for rehearing or reconsideration,
yeah, I think it's the 25th.
There's no reason to expect that the court will reverse its decision. So the ruling will have an immediate impact on Florida's law that prohibits the open carry of firearms unless going hunting or fishing. Folks, this is a huge win for the state of Florida.
Oh, it's a massive win.
As we've all seen in the past few days and even hours, how vital our God-given right to self-defense truly is.
Our state just got a lot safer.
This incredible ruling by the court not only upholds the Constitution.
Yeah, and of course, Democrats are like, what are you talking about? Everybody's got guns everywhere. How's everything going to be safe when everybody's got guns everywhere? Because it's a fucking deterrence. If everybody's standing in line at the bank and they're armed, no dude's going to rob the fucking bank. All I'm saying.
But also gives every Florida citizen the ability to protect themselves and those around them.
Yes, it does.
Since first being elected sheriff in 2013, I have advocated and lobbied Florida's legislature to pass open carry for Florida citizens.
Good.
As 45 other states have some form of open carry.
Yeah, look at this, man. Open carry is allowed, and it's the solid red ones. I mean, look, even fucking Oregon and Washington, too. All these states, all these down here, all the states around here, even Pennsylvania. That surprises me. Vermont, that somewhat surprises me a little bit. Michigan I already knew about. Yeah, so, I mean, look at all this shit, man. Open carry is allowed, but requires a permit for some types of weapons. So those are the ones that are just lined out in that orangish red. Open carry of long guns only is allowed. So only 2 states. And I would not be surprised if New York specifies that an AR-15 is an exemption. That one's not going to apply. But Florida open carry is prohibited. Look at that. Only 1, 2, 3 states in the District of Columbia. That's it. Where it was prohibited. Well, not anymore.
In fact, New York, California, Illinois, South Carolina, and Florida are the only states in the country that have statutes that prohibit the open carrying of a firearm.
All right.
And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be like New York, California, Illinois, or South Carolina in anything, especially something to do with the protection of my rights. So what does this mean moving forward, and more importantly, starting right now? While the state of Florida could appeal the court's ruling, it's extremely unlikely that the Attorney General would do so.
There's no way.
As he supports the court's decision, and especially...
No, dude, like the Attorney General already came out. I'm not sure if I have that post, but he already came out and said that technically this ruling only applies to the first district, like the first court district, which only applies to like 30 counties, like the northern half of the state of Florida. But he said that he is going to send an order to all the districts or all the counties that this will indeed apply to the entire state, and the state attorney is not going to take up any pending crimes or pending hearings with regard to open carrying. So essentially, he's already getting ahead of it. He already got ahead of it and said that he's not going to try to get this overturned in any way. It sounds like, if anything, he's praising it.
Since the governor of the free state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, has already made it very clear he would like to see our Florida legislature pass open carry.
Yeah, he said that back when they passed permitless carry, concealed carry, and somebody asked him, like, well, okay, so this is really great. This is great news. We can conceal carry without the government's permission. But, like, what about the open carry? He said, well, the reason why that's not being passed was because the legislators didn't write it in the legislation. If they did, I would have happily signed it. But it just wasn't in the bill. It only applied to conceal carry. So he's already publicly come out and advocated for open carry in Florida.
Into law. While the court's process will have to run its course, this ruling has a tremendous impact on the current state statute and renders it, at the very least, unconstitutional. With that in mind, I've spoken to our state attorney, Will Shiner, as well as the legal advisor for the Florida Sheriff's Association, and as such, I'm directing our deputies to no longer enforce Florida State Statute 790.053 as it pertains to the open carrying of a firearm. In addition, I've also spoken with our Brevard Chiefs of Police, and they are instructing their teams as well to no longer enforce the statute that prohibits open carry in the state of Florida.
Hell yeah.
Both State Attorney Shiner and our legal advisors support this direction, as to enforce the current law following the court's ruling would be unconstitutional. Now, with all of that said, I do want to remind and inform our citizens that the rights of private property owners give them the ability to stop someone from open carrying a firearm on their premises, and that we as citizens should always respect their rights as property owners. So essentially, if you're someone that is now openly carrying a firearm and going to a local grocery store or some type of shop, and the manager or store owner states that open carry is not welcome on their premises, you must respect that directive, or you can be legally trespassed from the property. As with all rights, guarantees, and privileges, there comes a responsibility. So my ask to you as sheriff is that you help protect the right to now openly carry a firearm in the state of Florida by being responsible and safe, using secure holsters, respecting the rights of property owners, taking firearm safety courses, and being a responsible gun owner is all part of what I mean by helping protect that right. As things continue to unfold on this issue, or if there are any other changes to the direction of the court's ruling, I will immediately get our citizens an update. But for now, I want to provide you with the most recent information we have regarding this change in the legality of open carry in Florida.
All right, let's fucking go, man. Now, of course, carrying a firearm, whether if it's concealed or open carry, it comes with significant risks. Like if somebody gets in your face and they like yell at you, like there's a million different things that could just end up happening. And I mean, if you get to a point where you actually have to pull your firearm and point it at somebody, or God forbid, have to discharge it, I'm just saying, man, like you could be facing life in prison if you make just one tiny little mistake. So, and lawful gun owners know this. Like, they know that it comes with a huge responsibility and a hell of a lot of accountability. So, yeah, you just got to be extra careful. And if you don't, feel comfortable with, having that hanging over you, that just the possibility, then, maybe that's not for you. But, I mean, I'm sure as hell happy about this. This is amazing news. So Florida is ending its 40-year ban on the open carrying of firearms, making a significant shift in the state's gun laws. Lawmakers, law enforcement officials, and families are split over what the change means for public safety. So this would be on Tiny URL. Let's see, News Nation, right? Yeah, News Nation. So I'll link it. I won't read it because I've already spent some time on this. So, and I know it's technically not swamp news, but I mean, it's government news. Yeah, I know it's not like DC government news, but I mean, still, I just think it's good news all around. This one's 3 minutes, 40 seconds. Well, it is on News Nation. Let me just give it a watch.
A 40-year ban on open carry, a major shift now in Florida's gun laws. So soon, legal owners will be able to carry their weapons out in the open. And now lawmakers, law enforcement, families are split over what this change means for safety. So News Nation's Ryan Bass, he's outside a police station in St. Petersburg, Florida. Ryan, how are not only police and those authorities, but also businesses preparing for this change?
Yeah, I mean, they're getting ready, Kelly, because this is about to take effect next Thursday. And it all started with the state appeals court in Tallahassee basically striking down the ban on Florida's open carry law. And that started back in 1987. So this has been nearly 40 years that this has now been revoked. And basically it said it didn't line up with recent Supreme Court rulings, which means now that Florida, starting next Thursday, will become the largest state in about a decade to allow people to openly carry firearms.
Let's
now,
go.
This is something that, again, businesses and police officers and police academies are really getting ready for across the state. Sheriffs from Miami-Dade to Central Florida have told deputies to stop making arrests for open carry, but they can still act if someone's carrying in a threatening way. 35 states
better be careful.
Allow open carry without a permit. Florida is about to become another one of them.
I mean, look at this, dude. Look, man, it's a lot more than I even thought, I think. There must have been other states recently that must have passed it, or maybe not. Maybe I just looked at something old or something, but those are all the states that allow open carry without a permit. The majority of the country. This is amazing. So if you go back, let me just take a quick look. States that allow permitless open carry. I suppose I can ask Grok this. I don't want to go digging through a bunch of images, but... Oh, caps lock. That's all right. 2010, because I thought it was like a very, like one state. I could be wrong. Maybe I've got my information incorrect. As it searches the web. Browsing web pages. It's supposed to be fast. I mean, come on, Grok. What the hell? ATF, Wikipedia, open carry, handgun laws. I mean, come on, man. This shouldn't take that long. Browsing webpage. Well, anyway, I'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
While states like Maryland and Massachusetts allow it with restrictions, 6 states, including California and New York, ban open carry.
35
states here in Florida,
open carry without a permit.
There are still rules on places that you can't just openly bring a gun into. Some of those we'll show you on your screen. But it includes
like
things like
schools,
buildings, meetings. You think about stadiums,
government buildings.
Disney World, for example, in Orlando, you can't bring a gun into.
Bars, as
that
I
also
said.
includes polling places, college campuses. However, businesses, they can still ban guns on their property if they choose to. It's also important to note here, Kelly, that this only applies to people who can legally have and own a gun here in Florida,
St. Petersburg.
Which means felons,
That's
those
where
that
I'm
have been convicted of domestic violence, and also people under the age of 21. This does not apply to them. Those laws still remain in place.
You know what's crazy? It was almost precisely 7:32 in the morning when I was reading this exact, like not from Newsmax, but from the Tallahassee Democrat. was reading that article because I wake up like around 7 in the morning, and it was right about 7:30 when I just happened to be reading this. That's kind of wild.
That's an important distinction here.
Because this news came out 4 days ago.
Whether or not this makes
not
streets
that was this
safer,
morning. This was probably 4 days ago.
It certainly does, right? Now, there was a Johns Hopkins study, Kelly, that came out in 2022 that basically showed that states that loosened concealed carry laws, they actually had more gun assaults. However, again, it's all up to interpretation of who you're chatting with. You know, support.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I bet that crime in general went down because it's a deterrence. It deters people from committing crimes if they believe that anybody around them could be armed at any time. Of course, gun-related incidents would go up just because it's simply by the numbers. There's just more people that have guns.
Of open carry say that it deters those criminals or that crime, and that it upholds rights. We did speak with Parkland parent Andrew Pollock, whose daughter Meadow actually was killed in the 2018 Parkland school shooting here in Florida. He is actually okay with open carry, especially in school.
You know, I just had a conversation about that just today, the Parkland shooting. I was talking with somebody trying to figure out like what Trump's first crisis as president, and I think that was it. That was the one that I had. I think it was Parkland, because he was only president for like what, 3 weeks or so at the time when that. Or no, hold on. Okay, yeah, I guess I am wrong. I thought that was in 2017. No, he just said 2018. All right, okay, I was wrong. I guess I was wrong then. Never mind.
This is why I think it's good to have plainclothes officers and teachers in school that carry, because no one knows who is carrying and who's able to defend the kids and shoot back. If you're a real evil person, element of surprise, and it's better for protection.
All right.
Now, Florida Democratic Chair Nikki Fried argues that open carry will actually erode trust in communities. She wants police to hold off here until there's actually more clarity. Even sheriffs are split. Some of them are calling it a policing headache. Others are saying, Kelly, that they will follow what the Attorney General is saying here, which is that open carry in the state of Florida is now a state law. Kelly?
It is. And yes, he is correct about that. It will be a headache for police. It will be a big headache for police. And it could be a headache for police for the foreseeable future. It definitely will be for the first couple of weeks until people start to realize, oh, okay, so I guess I'm not exactly supposed to call 911 if I just see somebody carrying a gun around. No, because it's the law now. If you don't like it, there's the door. All right, so I'm going to move on now to FBI Director Kash Patel. Patel reveals the FBI and NYPD prevented potential mass shooting at an NYC high school. This is on Just the News. Oh yeah, real quick, before I get further into that, let me just see if the grok finished. States that allowed permitless open carry in 2010. Okay, so 38 U.S. states permitted the open carry of handguns without requiring a permit or a license. Really? So it's always been that high. This is based on state laws at the time where permitless means no state-level authorization was needed for adults who could legally possess a firearm, though local restrictions or other rules like age or location might apply. The exceptions were 6 states that generally prohibited open carry and 6 that required a permit. Wow! Well then, I swear that I got that from Wikipedia. Let me see if I can find that map. There's like an animated map that went around talking about... Let me see if I can just find it directly on Wikipedia. At least I think it was. I don't know if I might find it through here. Let me try Google. Whoops. Come on. Now I might, oh, come on. I might have to clarify that it's a GIF image. I think it's a GIF image because it animates and then it starts over. Yeah, let me just do that because it might take a minute. Advanced search. All right, let me try that. Yeah, here it is. All right, carry, timeline, Wikipedia comments. This is it. Right to carry, 1986. All right, it's going to move. So, all right, hold on. Let's do this. So if you can see it, unrestricted is green, shall issue is blue, may issue is yellow, and red is no issue. And this is right to carry. So is Wikipedia wrong then? Because it said like 38 states are allowed to open carry without the government's permission. It's in 2004, 2005. This is shall issue. That's blue. And then 2010 is unrestricted. That's green. 2015, 2016, 17, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, lit up, 2022, even more, 23, even more, 24. All right, so unrestricted. So I don't know if I'm reading this wrong or what, but I thought shall issue means that you have to get the government's permission to carry a firearm. Maybe this is only pertaining to concealed carry, but it doesn't say that. It says history of handgun carry permit laws. Oh. So they didn't specify that, or I didn't specify that on Grok. So maybe that's where I'm getting it mixed up. So this is with regard to handgun carry permit laws from 1986 to 2025. They didn't update that, but it looked like it went on to 2025. All right. Yeah, so that's a thing. I guess I'll link that too if you want to take a look at that for yourself. But anyway, so yeah, let's get to this. So let's see. Just the news. Patel reveals FBI and NYPD prevented potential mass shooting at an NYC high school. FBI Director Kash Patel on Thursday, yesterday, because today's Friday now, announced that the FBI New York Police Department, NYPD, teamed up to stop a potential school shooting at a New York City high school after receiving a tip. The latest intervention comes after Patel revealed a similar move earlier this month where authorities thwarted a potential attack at a North Carolina preschool. The suspect in that area allegedly posted online that he intended to shoot up a preschool, injuring or killing 20 black children. What a sick fuck, man. Patel said the New York City operation was carried out after a tip was made to the FBI's National Threat Operations Center. The alleged target was Benjamin Cordoso High School. Quote, based on a quick response by NYPD and FBI personnel, a student was arrested with a loaded firearm. Patel posted on X. So, yeah, it certainly sounds like it. Of course, they don't have a crystal ball. They can't say 100% unequivocally, yes, he was going to shoot up this school. However, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Quote, the FBI will continue to work tirelessly to protect our children. Huge thanks to the NYPD New York FBI office for teaming up yet again to protect our country. Patel did not name the suspect in the latest operation, but New York City officials said the teenager was 16 and in the 10th grade. The motive for the most recent potential shooting was also not immediately clear. The potential shooter also allegedly posted about shooting up the school on Instagram on Thursday morning and was arrested on the campus approximately 2 hours later. The gun was found in his backpack. Quote, this afternoon, we are breathing a sigh of relief because Cardozo High School students and staff are all safe, New York City Mayor Eric Adams said. Earlier today, a 16-year-old student was arrested with a gun after posting on social media that he was going to shoot the school up. Adams said it was an example of the system working perfectly because someone saw something suspicious and actually did something about it by reporting the post and logging the tip. Quote, we potentially saved the lives of a lot of students and staff today, and I don't want to imagine a world where we would be making a different announcement right now, he added. Wow. Definitely sounds like they absolutely prevented a mass shooting. So big congratulations to the FBI. That's a huge win. All right. And this is from House Republicans. Freedom is never free. You are not forgotten. POW and MIA Recognition Day. That was today. They posted that 12 hours ago, around 9 o'clock this morning. So POW, Missing in Action Recognition Day, the 19th of September. And also, moving on to Capitol Gazette, U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said his agency is alarmed by Governor Wes Moore's proposed timeline of the bridge's rebuild and DEI contracting practices. And yeah, they're talking about that if you have a certain skin color, then we'll give you the contract. But if you don't, then you don't get one. Something like that. Uh-oh, is it not going to let me read this? Come on, Capitol Gazette. All right, let me try the workaround. Try the usual workaround, see if I can do it. All right, let's see. I swear this sometimes works. It's like the last 5 times in a row I've tried this and it's not worked. They're on to me. All right, so that sucks. I mean, that's kind of annoying, but who was it was from them. All right. Well, anyway, I think I got a little bit more. Yeah, this is also related to it from Matt Morgan. I agree with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. Maryland's DEI mandates and skin color-based contractor preferences are a blatant violation of the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause. It's downright un-American to judge folks and hand out contracts by race instead of merit. And let's be real, wouldn't you feel better driving across a bridge built by the best qualified engineers, no matter their demographic? Time to get back to American excellence. Absolutely. Merit first. So he's responding to Mackenzie Frost. Just in a letter to Governor Wes Moore, U.S. DOT Secretary Sean Duffy outlines concerns with the Key Bridge rebuild, including project cost and timeline. He also claims Maryland is using unconstitutional DEI contracting practices, which could introduce significant legal vulnerabilities. Plus, not to mention, the last post, the person that replied to this, mentioning that, wouldn't you want to have the most qualified person to rebuild a bridge and not just hiring somebody because they look a certain kind of way? Anyway, so I'll repost this if you want to check out the letter, read it for yourself. Yeah, so I mean, that's the best I can do. It's lengthy. Yeah, I've already gone an hour and a half, so I'm kind of running low on time, but I think I'm getting near the end at this point, but that's all right. So Attorney General Pamela Bondi, 55 additional arrests and 5 illegal guns seized yesterday in Washington, D.C. Our nation's capital will be safe and beautiful again. Look at this. We're almost up to 3,000 in Washington, D.C. since they started the operation of federalizing D.C. And that was, let me see, August 6th or 7th, I think. It was around that time, I believe, when they started the crackdown. It was in early August, I'm pretty sure. 276 illegal guns seized as of today. So that number might very well hit 3,000 tonight. So that was 55. It is Friday night. A lot of crazies tend to come out at the beginning of the weekend, so we might actually see that cross over 3,000. Ideally, you'd want it to not even move another single arrest. You'd think that eventually they'd get the message in D.C. and stop breaking the fucking law. Quit breaking the law. Be law-abiding. Try it out. It actually fits kind of nice. From the VA Secretary, Doug Collins, ProPublica is an extreme liberal news outlet that will do anything to make the Trump administration look bad. But this week, the far-left editors there reached a new low by sending Vernal Coleman to stalk Department of Veterans Affairs employees at their homes. This creepy behavior will discourage good people from coming to work at VA. ProPublica, please do better and stop letting your hatred of the Trump administration continue to warp your judgment. So yeah, this dude supposedly has been going to VA employees' homes. Not that many followers, but he's a reporter at ProPublica, probably trying to make a name for himself. That's probably why he's like banging on doors at God knows what hour of the day or night. So anyway, yeah, he wanted that to be known. From the U.S. National Archives, I've already mentioned this a couple of times, and now they're showing images. It's finally on display. So it's the U.S. Constitution on display for the first time ever. The entire U.S. Constitution, including the 5th page and all 27 amendments. This is the first time in American history where the public can actually go and view the Constitution in its full splendor and glory. And best of all, it's free. You can go see it for free. It's going to be at the Rotunda at the U.S. National Archives, and it's not going to be out for too long. I think it's only going to be out till like mid to late October. And you can go to the National Archives website, visit.archives.gov. Maybe this link, the last time I tried to find the tickets, and maybe this link will take me there, because last time I tried it just took me to the main website. So also from U.S. National Archives, visit during our extended hours this weekend until 7 p.m. Eastern. You won't want to miss it. Reserve your timed tickets and learn more at visit.archives.gov. I already clicked on it, but all right. So visit National Archives. Yeah, see it looks. Oh, wait. All right. Exhibition hours. See the Declaration of Independence, Constitution, Bill of Rights. Let's see. Tickets, advanced tickets. I thought they had a separate page for it, though. I thought they had like a specific page, but maybe not. Tickets. See, now I'm probably right back to where I started. Seasons and booking windows. Please keep an eye on the website. Wait, available through August of 25. What? I don't think that's going to be it. Anyway, it's on here somewhere. I swear I've seen it. I know I've seen it already. Oh, yeah, that's not it. Yeah, it's learn more about the founding documents. Maybe it's down here. Constitution. No, it's just general info. Wait a minute. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Open daily 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Okay, I just didn't scroll down far enough. Charters of Freedom. Is that what this is? So, yeah, this looks like we're in the right place. At least I believe so. Yeah, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. Okay, maybe not. Where are the tickets? Okay, plan your visit. Tickets. Back to the same place I was. All right. Well, they do have time tickets. I mean, they said it. I've seen it once. Not sure why I'm having so much trouble trying to find it. Yeah, free admission. But yeah, it is free. And there is a way. There's somehow, some way, somewhere on this website, you can actually reserve an actual time slot to go see it. That way you don't have to stand in line for hours because they anticipated being really crowded. Pretty much every day it's on display because this is the first time ever. And as I said the other day, there's probably a lot of schools who are planning field trips to go view it, especially if they're within a few hours from the Capitol. So, all right. Now moving on to the next thing here. Coach Tommy Tuberville, Senator Tuberville. Democrats have spent 10 years calling President Trump and his supporters Hitler, Nazis, and threats to democracy. This isn't a both sides issue. The epidemic of leftist violence has to stop.
The deranged people who commit political violence are often inspired by politicians and media who label people they disagree with as Nazis, Hitler, and threats to democracy.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and will pay the price.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
Oh, you remember that?
Representing
where he looks like a real dictator?
That threatens the very foundations of our republic.
He is destructive to our democracy.
At least he said republic. At least he got it right.
He has to be eliminated.
Donald Trump is an existential threat to democracy. And
on a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye.
Chart's a couple of months old. If you want to,
that sounds like an execution order to me.
Take a look at what happened.
Yep, there it is. Oh my God, dude, that was horrific.
Of course, they tried to shoot President Trump.
They did shoot him.
Now they've gotten a guy that everybody just loved.
Yeah, see, that's annoying when they say that. They tried to shoot him. They tried to kill him. Dude, they shot him in the head. The ear is part of the head. He was shot in the head.
Charlie Kirk has died at a hospital in Utah.
We have to talk about this incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism that has grown up over the last few years, and I believe is part of the reason why Charlie was killed by an assassin's bullet.
The political violence in this country has gotten completely out of control. Quit blaming this on the Republicans.
And look, the counterpart, the Democrat senator, I challenge them to do this exact same video showing the same number of clips of instances of the left committing violence against the right. Do you think that they're going to be able to come up with an equal amount of clips as to this video? I somehow doubt it.
Right. This is definitely
probably a 10-second clip.
The hands of the
and each event, like one clip per event, because that's probably what they're doing here. So far, I've seen one clip per instance per event. So they can't show 57 different angles of freaking January 6th because that's all they got, really.
They have preached nothing but hate.
They do have a couple things.
Violence.
I will concede that.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Of course they do.
Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes.
Dude, obsessed much? Somebody lives in his head rent-free.
After these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo,
Governor Waltz
is scooping folks up off the street.
Oh, it's Gestapo,
They're
huh?
Fans wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons.
They understand.
Oh my God, dude! What a piece of shit!
Hitler in the White House right now that thinks that he is going to become the dictator of the United States. Well, I got another thing to tell you, sir.
Well, the president is working to destroy our democracy from the inside out.
No, that would be the left.
A threat to democracy. He admires
the classic tactic: accuse the other side of what you're already guilty
of. The
of.
people are at fault are the Democrats. We don't need to be working and say the Republicans and Democrats need to work together. That is a crock of crap.
Wow. All right. Well, there you have it. I like seeing those clips. Every once in a while, I'll come across them. It's kind of hard sometimes to distinguish when it's coming from either a senator or a Congress member, if it's just like some political ad or not. But this one was almost 3 minutes, so I figured it was worth at least taking a look, and I'm glad I did. All right. USCIS, DHS Gov terminates TPS status for Syria. So it looks like thousands of Syrians are affected. The Trump administration will end deportation protections for thousands of Syrians. This is from the New York Times, and they paywalled me. Fuck. Of course they did. I'm going to get better at this eventually. Eventually I'm going to notice it. Oh yeah, that's right. It's New York Times. They can't fucking let me look at the damn article. So, oh well, we got the gist of it. Let's see. There's 13 active. TPS currently below is a list of country first year started and how many recipients in that TPS in the United States. So Burma, El Salvador. So they got a list of these countries here and the number of recipients. Syria, 6,200. They all need to go back home. TPS programs that have been terminated. That would involve Afghanistan, Cameroon, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, and Syria. So I have a feeling that some of these are going to be probably overturned by the Trump administration, or yeah, something along those lines. I mean, look at Haiti, dude. 200,000. Are you fucking serious? And 175,000 from El Salvador. I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. And I would take a wild guess. I wonder who. Oh yeah, from the earthquake. You know, say I take a wild guess, like which political party allowed that crazy amount in. All right. Oh, so that was it. All right. So really not much to see on that, but I mean, at least they dropped that comment. And from DEA Houston, 70,000 THC cartridges, 30,000 packages of THC edibles, 15 pounds of weed, and 11 firearms were seized by the DEA Galveston. Agents and Harris County Constable's Office Precinct 2 from inside a Houston home. DEA, alongside its federal and local partners, are keeping communities safe. There's the guns, as they show in all the magazines. And there's the drugs. All them drugs. THC cartridges. There's Chucky in the corner for some reason. And there you go. Seized a bunch of stuff. And this is the last thing I got. This too shall pass. Matthew McConaughey encourages Americans to lean on faith and family during difficult times. So I'll just wrap it up with this.
When we're in the middle of the chaos, we feel like it's on us and on us only, and how in the heaven or hell are we going to get out of it? Faith being something that we can on our own in the 4 a.m. solitude with ourselves, as well as in the masses in the arena of millions of people. Faith is something, a truth, that a stability, that where our head and heart connected with our spirit, where we can feel stable and go and trust ourselves, trust that sometimes this too shall pass, trust that I'm playing the longer game. No, we're in the immortal race. This is small stuff. This inconvenience that I'm in right now, and believe in that and understanding that helps us get through a lot of crises. And it's not tomfoolery. It's not foolish optimism. It's real. When we're in the middle of the chaos.
Well, he's quite a character, Matthew McConaughey. I've always been a fan of his movies, but yeah. Anyway, so that's going to do it for me for tonight, for Friday night, the 19th of September, 2025. And I'll probably be back with something tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure. Usually on the weekend, I just kind of hang out and just look through stuff and just kind of not really do anything like scripted or prepared or anything. So maybe I'll drop something over the weekend. But if you enjoyed the video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It would really mean a lot to me if you do. And I'll drop a new show every evening, Monday through Friday, covering the swamp and everyone living in it, which includes the bureaucrats, the politicians, all the agencies, and everything else. And I also post daily episodes on X too, so feel free to comment over there too if you'd like. And I thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your night, and God bless America.